Hello and thank you for joining me at Go Beyond Betty. Today, our final episode with Tom, for the brisket anyways, he's going to show you how to corn a beef. Kind of sounds weird, but the ones you buy in the store, they're very pink. And there is a reason for that. Tom's going to talk a little bit about the curing salt, very different from regular salt. It is pink, and it's pink for a reason. We will talk a little bit about that in the episode. And don't think of corned beef as just being something with cabbage on St. Patrick's Day. Yes, it's delicious. I love it then, but I also love corned beef, like year round. I love Ruben's. It's one of those things I love ordering at a diner. And I also love hash. So if you're a breakfast person at all, not that you have to have hash for breakfast, you can have it for any meal, but two awesome things to do with leftover corned beef. So let's get started and he'll show you how to make it, and then we'll give you some suggestions on what to do with all of it.
Really the focus today is we're going to take the flat, we're going to cure it, cook it, and I'll show you how to do a different take on a corned beef. All right, so to cure it, after we separate it, we're going to take the flat again, and we're going to put it into a brine, which has a couple different things. One, this is 8 cups of water. I just boiled the water and I dissolved half a cup of kosher salt and half a cup of sugar. And then we are going to, after it cools, we're going to add in our pickling spice, which is about 4 tablespoons, and 2 teaspoons of curing salt. You'll notice this one's called Prague #1 powder, which is the same as curing salt. There is a Prague #2, and they're slightly different. So this one, curing salt, has about 6.25% of sodium nitrate, and Prague #2 has an additional 4% of sodium nitrate, whatever it is. But the important thing is that you want to follow the recipe very specifically, because this is a toxic agent, right? So if you use too much, bad things happen. So follow the recipe precisely. We're going to take the flat, we're going to put it in this container. You can also do like a 2-gallon Ziploc bag or whatever will hold the flat for you. And we're going to brine it, right? So I'm going to mix up the brine like I talked about. We're going to leave it in the container, and anywhere like a week to 10 days, so 6 to 9, maybe 10 days. This one's going to be about a week because we're a week out from St. Patty's Day. It's just going to live in the fridge for a while. Welcome back and happy St. Patty's! This is terrible. So we're back. It's day 6 that we've had our
Brine.
our brine going on what's going to be our corned beef. So we've pulled it out of the fridge. Our wonderful camera person's going to get a close-up on it here. So you can tell that it's nice and gray. That's normal. And the water has pulled up a lot of the blood really out of the meat. And so I'm going to drain this, and I'm going to rinse it off, and then I'm going to pat it dry and then season it. Okay, so I've patted this dry, mostly so that the smoke will stick to it, and then I'm going to lightly season it. So I'm just using some thick kosher salt. Remember, this was brining, so there's already some salt in there, so this is a little lighter than I would normally do for a piece of beef this thick. So I've just got some coarse salt, and then some pepper, and then I'm going to use my left hand to flip this and keep my right hand clean, so that I can then again pick up the salt and do that. Although I guess now I gotta wash my hands to use the pepper, so. So I'm gonna throw this on the smoker at 250 degrees for 2 hours. And then we will bring it in and finish it in the oven.
Covered, uncovered?
Uncovered on the smoker, fat side up at 250. Okay, so we've pulled our meat off the smoker. It's been in there for 2 hours at 250. You can see it's got a nice caramel color to it. Some of the fat has started to meld, and it's about 145 degrees, just for reference. And so now what we're gonna do is put it in the oven to finish, basically braising it. You can smoke it on the smoker the whole time. I've tried that before. It just dries out a little bit, and you're basically making pastrami at that point, depending on the rub that you would put on. But we want to make a traditional corned beef, so we're going to braise it to finish. So we're going to turn to America's oldest brewery, Yuengling, and we're going to use that as our braising liquid. You can use Coca-Cola or something sweet, And then what I like to do for this part is put just a hint of mustard. So I'm just gonna plop it right in there. So I'm gonna put a little bit of mustard on the bottom. Just corned beef always seems like it should have a little mustard flavor, you know? And then we're just gonna slide our meat directly onto it, kind of center it up. Then pour some of our delicious Yingling on top of it. I use Yingling, you know, you could use Guinness, but it's St. Paddy's Day. I'm gonna drink the Guinness. But Yingling, you know, a lager, something with a little bit of malt, kind of gives you that sweetness that you're looking for. So we'll open another. Gives you a little bit of sweetness that you want. All the alcohol is going to cook off. It's not going to change the flavor of this, but some of that sugar will caramelize and add in as it steams. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of mustard on the top. Again, just a little bit. We just want a hint. If I was doing a pork rub or something, I often use mustard as a binding agent for a dry rub. Like if you're doing a pulled pork or something. But today I'm just going to smear it lightly to get a little coating on it and then seal it with foil all the way across the top and then shove it in the oven at 275 for 3 hours. All right, so now I've got a tight seal on here. I'm just going to slide it in the oven at 275. All right, so the corned beef is done. It's out of the oven. It is right around 200 degrees. Ideally, 203 degrees is what you want. So first step, open a Guinness, and then we're gonna slice it. So you wanna go against the grain on this one. I'm just gonna start at one end and slice all the way to the left. And then you can see a big pot in the backdrop where Shannon's got all the rest of traditional St. Paddy's Day fare. And that's it. We're gonna slice it up and get to eating. So happy St. Paddy's.
So I know corned beef takes a while. It's a bit of thought ahead and, you know, curing for a week or so and then the cooking process, but it's so worth it. It's not a lot of work. It's like 5-10 minutes hands-on time in the beginning and then just sits in your fridge for a while. So you might need some extra fridge space. We happen to have a couple refrigerators because we love meat projects and we love cooking and doing that sort of thing. So maybe it's time for you to take a risk and do a meat project. And he'll do some more in the future for me, I'm sure, if I can coax him. So let me and him know in the chat that you like this episode and what you want to see him cook next. I love his paella. Paella is awesome. So maybe I can get him to do that in the future. But thanks again for joining me. We'll see you again soon. Bye.